Okay, this is recording to the cloud, to the famous cloud. Thanks for everyone for coming in here on January 24th on a Monday. It's part of the My Monster Syllabus class. If you want to get the Monster Syllabus, it's only 112 pages long, or you can get the alternative 4-pager, which we're building. We're building an alternative syllabus. And this week is on immersive worlds. So I thought, who better than to bring Mikhail in here and dazzle us with what he's done over the past, now it would be 15 years since he started in this game in 2007, I believe. And he might give us more of his bio and history, but I know there are 3 events we met at. We met in Norway, in Oslo, Norway, and took a train up to Koch. And it was some kind of a advanced distributed learning lab conference for the Norwegian defense. And I think it was a few years later, 2016, he was at the media conference in Vancouver. And then in 2017 in Coimbra, Portugal, for the Immersive Learning Conference. And there's probably a couple other e-learn conferences and ed media conferences where we've been at previously and that I'm forgetting along the way. But Mikhail likes to travel and he likes to meet people. And so I'm sure he's delighted to see all of you showing up because he is a networker in addition to being a cutting edge researcher in the field of immersive worlds. And this is where things are at today. When I updated the Monster Syllabus and moved it from 100 pages to 112 pages, there were 3 areas that just exploded over the past 2 years: AI, adaptive learning, and immersive worlds. And we're fortunate here to have someone who's experimenting, researching, presenting, discussing this area. And so he's the expert now. When I met him, he was just a young little thing, but now he's one of the experts in this space. And so, Mikhail, could you maybe add to your little bio before you go through I think we'll give you host privileges here, or co-host privileges, so you can share things. He's going to experiment. I think you're actually going to experiment and try some things you haven't maybe done before, or you're not positive it will work with Zoom, but he's going to try it. And so, by the way, there's a couple of professors from learning science in the audience. Dr. Dan is here, Dr. Joshua Danish, who are both from Indiana University. We might have a couple other professors, my colleague Mena Ju from Wayne State as well, and Youngju An, the department chair at the University of North Texas. I see a number of people showing up here, and I'm sorry if I've forgotten or missed out on a couple of people I need to mention, but I'll look along the way. So Mikhail, we'll have you give you're going to do a series of presentations. You said like 3-part over the next half hour and then open it up for questions after that. Is that right?
That's right, Curtis. It's hard to insert a phrase when you're talking. Well, everything is correct. Yes, we met several times. I can add to my bio and I can, hit you with a lot of information about augmented virtual reality and their application in education and training. So my background is in computer science, and I graduated in 2006. In 2007, I moved to Norway and did a PhD on the use of virtual reality in education. And since then, I've been working on a number of projects and in different capacities as a researcher, also as a developer, and lately mostly as a project manager and business owner.
So wait a minute, before you said you moved, you have to tell them where you moved from and where you got your undergrad degree at.
Yeah, I moved from Russia. So until 2006, I lived in Russia and I did a computer science degree there.
Thank you.
All right, so yeah, at the moment, I am a researcher at the Norwegian University of Science and Technology, which is the biggest university in Norway and is the only technical university in Norway. We have here over 30,000 students, but I'm mostly concerned with a lab I coordinate, which is AR and VR lab at the Department of Education and Lifelong Learning. So we are a high-tech lab and a small research group in a education and very pedagogical department. So we are struggling a bit, but also having a lot of opportunities to collaborate. And we are surrounded with lots of people who want this technology and who play the role of the application domain and also end users for us. Here it's in the university, I'm currently coordinating relatively small international projects, maybe around $500,000 in the budget of each of them, and a few national projects where our role is mostly to develop prototypes of virtual augmented reality applications, and then either us or other partners are taking the role of evaluating them and finding the way to use them and to create different educational scenarios and also give us requirements for what we want to develop. I won't go, to tell you about each of them in particular, but I have something else for you that Curtis specifically wanted me to present, which was actually a company and an open source augmented reality training application. And that application is both used in commercial development and also, since it's open source and completely free to use, in many research projects.
So, Mikhail, before you go into that one,
yeah.
I want to mention to everybody, if you go to his homepage and click on projects, you'll see a historical overview of the different projects that you've been involved with, both with the military and with universities. You want to mention a couple of those so that it might pique people's interest before you get into the specific app you're going to show us.
Sorry for not updating my projects page on my homepage, but I think I haven't updated that specific page since like 3 years ago, and I have double as many projects now, and that is not the most updated list of projects. So these projects are actually more on the virtual world side, so the social desktop based virtual environments that I've been working on before to 2013, 2014, when the headsets became more accessible and popular. And also in the past 2 or 3 years, I've been working much more on augmented reality than on virtual reality. And I think we can get back to that. And if you have specific questions, on projects in any other areas, I think I'll be happy to answer them. If I now have my right to share screen.
Yep, you're a co-host.
Yeah, thank you. So this is what I wanted to pitch and demonstrate to you today, which is an augmented reality training platform developed first in a large research and innovation project funded by the European Union, and now we are developing it in an open source community, sort of supported by the company. So we have the open source development plus some commercial offers go along with it. And I will mostly give you what it can do. I'll show you some videos, and I will try to give you a live demo in about 10-15 minutes. So we focus there on rapid reskilling using augmented reality. And in our vision, we need to prepare for the future where the speed and how quickly you can learn something defines your talent. So we want augmented reality solutions where you can go from not knowing anything and completely unskilled to mastery in no time, on the job, being productive from day one. If you remember a movie called Matrix, there was a scene with a helicopter, and it was very easy to call an operator and load all the skills and all the knowledge about learning how to operate and how to pilot a helicopter. So we want to have something similar using the visual aids in this training application. It's not as rapid and as quick as completely loading information directly to your brain, but it's getting closer. It allows you to start doing something and learning at the same time. Should I read the chat, or should I look at it after my short presentation with the slides?
Yeah, Christian and I will monitor it, so you don't have to worry yet. We'll wait until you're done. Yeah. And I want to give a shout out to Sean Ga, the former president of ACT, who's joined us from the University of Oklahoma, as well as Chris Devers, who you may have met at the eLearn or Ed Media Conference coming to us from Johns Hopkins University. So thanks, Sean.
Very good. I'm glad to see so many people, so many also people from different places in the US. So I'll continue. We focus on skills, and we have several challenges that we focus and try to overcome, like the costs of specifically experts who are rare, and their time is valuable, and also we don't want them to travel when they don't have to travel. We want to preserve knowledge in the organization, the intellectual capital, and also to capture tacit knowledge. We want to help organizations to comply with regulations, and specifically training regulations and different requirements. We want them to help to access talent, and also to stay competitive with UNISO 1, implementation of tasks where there is no margin of error, everything needs to be precise. Then we did some evaluations of the system, both in the research projects and later. And our users, the greatest majority of them, refer to the system wonderful, stimulating, easy, or variations of these adjectives. And we studied several aspects of this. I will show you in the end of my slides a few examples of the studies that we did. Some of them focus specifically on our platform, some of them on the hardware that we used, or in general in the technology. So in very general terms, from the results, what we learned is that AR solutions provide better retention, error reduction, and faster training. We also are looking at reducing the costs of training. If we believe the statistics that say that on average, companies in the US spend just over $1,000 per person per year for training on the job, we offer training modules that are also, compared to the average, are 85% cheaper, using mostly the cost reduction, because we have an augmented reality solution that basically allows to drastically reduce the time of the expert. And also we use the concept of reality as a platform. If you remember, in the old times of the web, there was a concept of Web 2, where we used the web as a platform for anything. Now there is a new concept of a Metaverse, AR cloud, and twin worlds and mixed reality. They all say about similar concepts from slightly different points of view. So we use the physical world, the physical reality, as a platform for developing content, applications, experiences. I have here a short video now from one of the pilots that we are doing in the healthcare, in nursing in the United Kingdom. And here, just a small snippet from the augmented reality user interface. This is filmed by a regular user from HoloLens. I will play a few seconds and I will then explain what you see. So what you see here is a replay of a user or a learner of a module that was created here in the patient room. What you see here on the background is reality, is a regular patient room and that's a live patient there, some equipment standing around and so on. On top of that, you see here on the left figure of what we call a ghost. This is a captured instructor who is, who's been recorded previously, also using absolutely the same application, and the expert, or in the case of replaying the recording, the ghost is demonstrating what needs to be done on a specific step of a specific procedure. You can see here upper body with the head and also the hands, plus also there is voice, but I'm not playing it at the moment. There are also some menus floating around showing you what holograms are available and some text descriptions of the procedure and so on. So here over the patient bed, you can also see a simple image hologram that is just hanging over there, showing that the correct position of the patient is actually on the other hand, on the other side. So on the other side, and the patient should face the other way, and the ghost is showing that if that is the case, you need to approach the patient from the left and then turn him or her around. So this is captured using either HoloLens or a smartphone or a tablet. And this is replayable in any position. So it's not a video with the figure and the room on the background. You can replay it, be in anywhere, observing from any point of view. And even you can replay it in a completely different room, but then you would need to have a bit more of context what it is. I'll show you also examples in the live demo. Let's see. As I said, we're developing this platform in an open source developer community. We are at the moment 28 people in the community. 3 of them are working full-time, most others working part-time. We are collaborating with several research projects and a few enthusiasts. We've been working as a spin-out for more than a year, and the app itself is absolutely free. The only limitation is that when you are using the free version of the application, all the functions are available, but you cannot save the content to the cloud because the cloud is public, unless you want your content to be public. Right, and then as a commercial offer, we have services where you could get a server for your organization, or we can integrate it into your service. Then I can show you a little bit of what else we have in addition. So on the right-hand side here, we have the Mirage XR app. We have a content producer, what we call Mirage XR Producer, which is an authoring tool, which I will be able to demonstrate. We also have a viewer that the students can use to actually see the holographic training content. We have some interfaces to external repositories like Sketchfab here for 3D models. And we have an interface to learning management system. At the moment, we work with Moodle. So on the back end, as a content repository, we use Moodle, and we can integrate it potentially to any other. And we also use Learning Record Store as an API solution to track the user behavior. We're also using a standard for augmented reality learning experience model, which is an IEEE standard designed specifically for learning content, which is created and can be replayed using augmented reality. So when you are using the app and you're hitting save, all the data that you've created is saved in this RLM form, sent to Moodle backend, and can be retrieved and shared with students as a regular content in an LMS. I can say a few words about different kinds of research that we've been doing in the past 5 years on AR training within this project and now within the company. So one thing that we did was more an extension of the 4CID model, and we've created basically a description of various augmented reality training tools and methods that are either used by others, and that is based on the literature review and the review of applications, or that we invented in our project and we used in our own solution, which are a minority. Most of these here you can see we also classified in the structure of the for CID model. And in the publication that is available on the previous slide over here, we have descriptions of all of them and references to who is the author of a specific method, how training is done, or a specific visual solution that can be a part of training that we sort of integrate into for CID. So this is our pedagogical concept that we're using. So what you can in practice do with that is when you're designing a learning experience using AR, you can consult this model and you can look at all the variety of different mechanisms that are available, that exist, and that other people use. And in our own solution, we haven't implemented yet all of them, but we have a good variety of different ones. We also did some research on simulator sickness, which is apparently a much bigger problem in VR than in AR. And if you don't know, simulator sickness model consists of a list of questions that you ask before experience and then right after. And then you compare how much of the nausea or sweating or other symptoms your subjects have. And according to research from our project, there is very little simulator sickness caused by HoloLens, which is augmented reality smart glasses that we currently support, and that's also providing one of the best augmented reality experiences out there from the hardware. And we did some research on technology acceptance. If you know, there is such a concept of technology acceptance and technology acceptance modeling, how different concepts influence each other and in the end, the user's behavior. What we did, we created a model for technology and acceptance for augmented reality and wearable technologies, meaning the wearable augmented reality, not the one that you can use on a smartphone, but the one you can use with smart glasses. And there are some, additional concepts, as you can see, that influence, and we also used another model as a starting point. We also now are doing some research on looking at the Bloom's taxonomy and augmented reality learning. And we looked at the past 20 years of applications and of development, and we were examining different apps that from the point of view of which levels of the Bloom's taxonomy they implement. As you can see, most of them here, the blue bars on the chart are about the basic remembering and understanding. So we see most of the applications, both in the past and also at the present, focus on them, a little bit more on the application in the past 2 or 3 years, and very few examples on evaluating and creating. And we're also especially proud that our solution allows you to be creative and create stuff, although we haven't really done enough research to actually evaluate how well that works. So we can, with our solution, we can ask students to actually make something in augmented reality as an assignment or as a creative task. Slightly less related to augmented reality training, I've been also working on some research in augmented reality developments and design skills. And I'm very proud of the model augmented reality curriculum that we've completed a year ago. What we found, mostly doing research in 2020, that there is an increasing lack of skills in the area of augmented reality development, also in virtual reality development and also in general in 3D graphic and visual skills. And we cite here multiple sources, and we suggest a model curriculum that is also sort of a part of the challenge we're facing, that in augmented reality and virtual reality training solutions, many people say that there is either not enough content or the applications are not user-friendly enough for the end users and so on. And that's one of the reasons, which simply the industry simply doesn't have enough people, and the higher education doesn't, produce enough graduates. So we found just under 30 programs in the world where augmented reality is being taught, and half of them are in a single country. You may guess which one. Yes, if you are interested, all the details are also in the ACM publication. And that's it. These are all my slides that I prepared. I can go back to any of them. But before I do that, I wanted to do a live demo for you of the training application. I will try first the easy, short demonstration on the phone. And for this, I will need to join the Zoom meeting also with my phone as another participant. So
I did let the phone in, so the phone should, when I think it's in. Oh, okay, there it is. Hang on. Okay, you're admitted again. Yeah.
And now I will also mute myself on the phone so that I don't create echo. Let's see. I will stop sharing. Is it better now?
Yes, we got you now.
Okay, good. So I will now share my screen on the phone. Okay, now I can share the application and make a demonstration for you. And I think the image will be a little bit choppy for you because of the Wi-Fi and the distance between us and the ping. However, I will try to go slow and also comment on what I'm doing. So I'm creating a new recording. So here I am with the authoring interface. As you can see, I see my own meeting room in front of me. And my phone is trying to find all the surfaces in this meeting room. So I found the table. All these white circles that means that the app actually found a space. So I think that's enough space for me for the demonstration. So what I can do here is I can open my step, which we call action step, and I can add some content into it. So I will first try to add something very simple. I can add a label, and I can write something like, hello world. Oops. So my label appears over here in my step number 1 station, and I can move it where I want it to be. So I want it to be here in the middle of the table. So I will just put it there. And as you can see, it stays there in the middle of my table. So that's the entire point. If I want to speak about this little circle in the middle, and I want to label it with something that is written, I can use this type of hologram. So this is not the most exciting type, but I wanted to demonstrate something simple first. Now, what else I can do? I can show you the most advanced feature that we have next, which is a ghost. Now, I want to pretend that this little circle around on my table is actually some complex system, and it requires some explanation what it is. So I will be now the trainer. So welcome to the tutorial about the circle on in the center of the desk. And when you first approach it, you need to come from this side, because if you look here, you will notice some of the threads and some of the spots from the spilled coffee on this side. And you can see also, if you go around, you can observe that it's completely round. And one interesting thing that is also movable, and you can try and move it yourself when you first do this procedure. So I did a recording. So now what I can do is I can move a little bit to the side. So let me see, I will click apply. And I'm not sure that I share the sound, but I'll show you visually.
We heard some sound, yeah.
But this is a ghost, if you remember. I was walking around. No, I don't hear myself for some reason. Oh, wait.
We hear you fine.
Okay. So I'm, coming closer from that side, coming from this side. So when I'm looking at these, I can go anywhere, and my ghost will be in the same position relative to the geometry of the room as I recorded it. So if you noticed, it actually approached this round circle. It was talking with my voice. It was also getting a bit down and up. So it's just the app takes the position of my smartphone and assumes that this is the position of the head of the ghost. So what else I can do? I can create another action step and say the second action step will be on this side, and I can again open it, and I can create and add some other content there. I can add some visual effects. And let's say I want to add some clouds. For whatever reason, this is my cloud. It's a little bit too gray on the dark night outside. Okay, let's see. I want to add another visual effect that is more bright. A fire. And there it is. So I can put the fire if you need it. So there are many visual effects. You can also move it where you need to be. So there is an empty vase, and I can put the fire on it. So that's going to be there. So on this step, when I record the ghost, I may talk about that vase, about this curtain, and then this visual effects will basically help me to explain something, right? Or attract attention to something, or explain, okay, in case of fire, if the fire starts in that corner, you need to, do this and do that. So this is what I can do here. And yeah, I can give another demo. Let's see, I want to add an action, and we have some ISO inspired actions to add, and they are simple 3D icons or animations. So I want to add a location icon, for example. So this appears over there, and it's now behind the cloud as well. And I can try to drag it somewhere. And for example, I want to put it here. And when I'm doing an instruction, I will be saying something like, when you're doing this procedure, this step, you need to be first locate this place. And, because something is there and something is important there. So this is how the creating instruction works. And then what I can do is I can also look in the overview of my action steps. I'll create just 2. Then I can simply save it to my device, or I can save it into the cloud, and then I can retrieve it for continue authoring. Or what I can do is I can, when I save it to the cloud, if I'm logged in to my Moodle, then I can continue editing in Moodle on a desktop. For example, if I want to add text descriptions because it's not very convenient to type on the phone, or I can replace some of the images or similar, or I can add it to my courses. And then when the students are browsing this week's assignments, they click on this one and will prompt to download an app because this is a spatial assignment. So some of them may require you to be in a specific location. Some of them may require you to have a specific piece of equipment. And for that, of course, you would assume that your students are in the lab, or your students are at the workplace, where they know where they can find this place or equipment. Or if you know that your students are at home, you are, basically when you're creating instructions, you don't rely on specific objects that you have at your workplace when you're creating this instruction. So you can add 3D models, and you can only require like a large horizontal surface, so that you can assume that most students would have at home, and that's it. You place all the holograms there. Okay, this is a mobile demo. I think this is what I wanted to show. If somebody has a specific interest in something while this is still working, and also streaming to Zoom works, you may ask me anything to show you other stuff in the app, and I can try to do it.
So does someone have a specific question related to this demonstration? Just jump in here. And I want to say thank you for my friend Baywin Chen, coming from University of Central Florida, one of the largest universities in the United States. Ann from William Patterson University in New Jersey. Daz Yamamoto from Ottawa. I'm one of my mentees, and Ibrahim Beminger, who's studying augmented reality in Yemen. He's one of my doctoral students. So we got a bunch of people who are interested in your topic here from Indiana and from around the world. Does anyone want to jump in with a question? Christian?
So if nobody else has a question, quick question. Does the voice recording, does that have a transcription function?
Which function? Translation?
Yeah, so like when you gave voice to the ghost, is there the ability to be like closed caption below that?
Not at the moment, but we are working on these. So what do we have? What I can show you is something that is related. So we have, let's see, I can add a character. So we have a bunch of characters that you can add. And they have, you see, let me try to put it further down because it's a bit too high up. Oops. They have a possibility to program AI, or to record your voice, or to let them show some text. And I think that text they show can be taken from the voice. And they can understand some of the, if you program it we're using IBM Watson, they can actually speak to you. But it really works a bit slow when I streaming, because my Wi-Fi is all overloaded. I wouldn't try it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this is a really cool suggestion, that the voice that is being recorded, either the ghost or simply a simple voice, could be transcribed.
Thanks for the question, Christian. And does someone else have a suggestion or an observation or a question for my friend Mikhail? Raj usually has a question. Go ahead.
It looks like there's two, yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I do have a question. Hi.
Oh, Ibrahim, yes.
Okay. Yeah, so my name is Ibrahim, and I did a study to help students in Yemen in high school. They teach English using material I took when I was a school student, so it's about 20 years ago, and they still use the same material. So they don't have videos or any media in that curriculum. So I surveyed the applications available, and I found Erasmus at that time. Erasmus gone, and then I found that it is taken by HP Reveal. I hope you heard about HP Reveal. I can write down that in the chat. And
Yeah,
I felt it is a augmented reality application.
well, there
Okay.
are several applications that are sort of authoring tools for augmented reality without requiring you programming skill. You could, skills, you could create some AR content in them, but I think they are a little bit too basic at the moment because AR really made a big step forward compared to all these authoring tools from 5 or 7 years ago. And I think with a lot of innovation, with a lot of effort in development, we are trying to keep up, and we can't really do it. And I think there are now a few more options that are available. And yeah, it's a couple of my colleagues here in the university work on a project where they try to make an up-to-date overview of all AR tools that are used for that for any educational use currently in 2021-22. I can have a look at that and share with you if you want.
Yeah, so my question was, HB Refill was very helpful. It allows you to do several things. You can add pictures, videos, unlimited number of recording, and you can add that to a textbook. So I add material to the content whenever the students use their cell phones and approach or get closer to any image on their old textbook, they find more materials pop up. But the problem is this lasts for 2 years, and all what you have created gone, and they don't give you any right to do anything. And now I'm serving similar application. I don't find similar apps that will give you the same features that HB used to give educators. If you have something like that or similar to it, it will be interesting. I have seen your demonstration. I think it is amazing as well.
Very good, thank you. I think I can send you the link to our apps and also to the list of AR applications, educational AR applications that we are collecting in our overview. I can send to Curtis everything after I finish the lecture.
Ibrahim and I just submitted two. Well, I submitted a paper in AR with him with this Yemenese study, and so did Maina, who's here. So we've got two studies in review. We can send to you and get your feedback on them. Nadia's got a question. So Nadia, want to jump in here?
Yeah, thank you so much for that informative presentation and about augmented reality. My question is, can we integrate other like maybe applications or other material that is taken from other sources, like in the teaching of languages and cultures, which is my expertise. Sometimes I'm interested in including some material like libraries, let's say. One of them have a virtual visit to one of the libraries, museums around the world, which is already available sometimes through Google. So can that be included in your application? This is like one part of the question. The other thing, other material also, like not necessarily virtual visits, but any other material that I already prepared, can I include it as in like modules or pages, files with sound, or adding some media to already created material in some other files?
Okay,
Thank you.
Your sound disappeared for a few seconds, but your first question was if it's possible to integrate virtual visits to museums. And I think if you want a complete virtual experience, a VR solution would be much more suitable. What you can do in AR, you can augment or extend the visit to the actual museum, or you can let people create, browse the artifacts from the museum at home without actually going to the building. So there are some options in AR, but they would, from my point of view, usually include being in that place in person and having a virtual tour guide, if you can say, a digital tour guide who would follow you and tell you about different places, different exhibits, and parts of the either the museum or the different area and time periods and so on. With
Like you
our
say, I make
application-
the visit, like I really make the visit and then I ask them to have that virtual, or how do I make that virtual visit? Through having pictures of the place or the museum I'm interested in?
So I'm talking about two different alternatives. One is that your students go to the actual museum in real life, the physical museum, and then having their smartphone device, they would carry with them an AR application, and the AR application would recognize where the student is, or what the student is looking at, and would supply the information playing the role of the tour guide, for example. And the other alternative is to have completely virtual experience in a different technology called virtual reality. Then you would have goggles that create the complete scene of the museum, where people would, the users or the students would engage and immerse and then explore the museum. So it would be like a fully immersive game environment. In between option would be also using, and something that is possible with our solution would be for your students to be both at home and using augmented reality. And it would be something like looking through a smartphone on their desk and then generating a three-dimensional object model of specific exhibit from the museum, and then the app would also tell them about something related to the exhibit. And that's a 3D model that is, fixed to the environment. It's not a static picture, it's not a video, but it's a model that is in front of you. And if you look through the phone, you can walk around, it will be, stay a 3D model, or you can even interact with it and then push it over the table or something like this.
Mikhail, you're talking through your phone, just so you know. You probably know that, but it's working. So
I will switch now back to my PC. Give me a second.
Yeah. So we don't see you at this moment, but while you're switching over, I want
raised. Yeah,
we got a couple of hands raised here. I want to thank a couple of my former students, Shajin Ko, who's a director of our Center for Learning Technology, and Dr. Patrick Walsh, coming from BYU, Idaho, one of our recent alums. So we got a lot of people coming from around the country and around the world. Do we have a couple of hands raised, Christian? Who do you want to call on, Christian?
I think if Christopher's hand go up earlier, but we can do
Chris Devers. Okay, go ahead, Chris.
Hi, thanks for the great presentation. My question to you is, given what you know now about AR, what do you wish you knew when you started to help those who are interested in learning and doing AR now?
Good question. We started developing this application before there was hardware available, like that I wear now, HoloLens. And my wish was that I wouldn't know a little better the capabilities of AR. So I wouldn't need to guess and hope that it will work. So that's one of the, and I still wish that I would know a little bit more of all the secret projects that the big tech companies are developing. Google is developing AR glasses, Apple is developing AR glasses, but we know so little about them that it's very hard to develop the application cross-platform, thinking, you know, ahead in time that it would support also other devices. One other point that I think is or would have been important to know was that the smartphones became AR devices as well, and especially the latest iPhone and the iPad Pro, they have LiDAR technology and they have multiple cameras, and they are very capable of sensing the shape of the physical environment around the person, the user, and it really helps to create quite a good quality AR experience. And in the research and innovation that I was more fond of 6-7 years ago, we were looking for, you know, the next smart glass device, and that was all very interesting and promising. But still, you know, 6-7 years later, the smart glasses are very few, and there is no real market for that. So the users are using smartphones, and we are only now, a year ago, started the cross-platform part of our application, and now we are getting much more interest in our application when the potential users know that the same experience, even though it is slightly more unstable and a bit shaky on the phone, and if you have not the most recent phone, maybe the holograms would sometimes you know, shift here and there a few centimeters. These are not very serious problems, and I think with the next generation of smartphones, they will be gone. And AR on phones is 6 years ago I thought it's not gonna be that interesting. Now I think it's really becoming great.
So before Dazi asks his question, I have two quick questions for you. If one of these people who are attending today approach you and want to partner with you on writing a grant, you've got a lot of things going on. Are you willing to serve on some additional ones working with people here in the US? Trying to get, yeah.
So what is the question exactly?
Are you looking to partner with other projects?
Yes, definitely. We are very open. It's of course much easier to work you know, closer by distance, but we are very happy to join forces with anyone or advise any research projects or education projects on our platform, our application. Will be happy to give you tutorials. We are planning also public tutorials from February. So we will have maybe 1 to 2 hour hands-on workshop where people would need to install our application on any device they want beforehand, and we will focus on showing all the features and explain also how each feature would be used in different educational scenarios.
Is that next month's train? When is that going to happen?
Yeah, that's we're planning for mid-February for the public webinars, free public webinars.
Will that be on your homepage, or should they go through me? You can send me the link.
We'll announce on the website, but let me give you that.
That'd be great. So my other question before Dazi jumps in here, you said you spun out of something. You didn't say what you spun out of. And then you also said there are challenges. And I'm assuming the challenge that you alluded to was there's not enough people with skills in the field. So there are jobs, the counterpoint is there are jobs and openings. If people become skilled, they can get a job. Is that right? And so who did you spin out of, and to do what did you spin out of it?
Okay, so My last message in the chat is the website of the company where we are hosting our open source development at the moment, and also some commercial offers with regards to the platform I demonstrated. I'm in parallel also starting the demo on smart glasses, and I will tell you a few words about the project where we spun out. So it was a EU funded research and innovation project. Our website of the project is no longer available, although our research is on the ResearchGate and also in some of our profiles. And I can also give more information about that project. The research that I showed in the end of my presentation was all from originated from that research project. And it lasted from 2015 to 2019. And I was one of the coordinators of that.
It seems like
I'm a bit confused now if I answered all the questions that were asked, or there was something that I didn't answer.
No, I think yeah. So the new entity though spun out of a university setting or out of a different company? Did you spin out of a lab within a university in computer science? Was that it?
Out of a project, which was a project, a consortium project with 12 organizations.
Okay.
Right. So I'm not sure if it's legally correct that we spun out of it, but yeah, we are using the IPR developed in the project.
Got it. Godzi wants to ask a question. I believe he always asks questions. And Christian said, yeah, he's got his hand up. So Godzi, you want to jump in here from Ottawa, who's working with the Premier of Ottawa, Justin Trudeau. And any information you give will go right to the Premier. So.
Thank you, Kurt. So thank you very much, Michael, for the presentation. Just out of curiosity, people are talking now, not people, but the topic is now being discussed about learning in the metaverse. So by curiosity, I would like to know what you think about the main difference or the main differences between learning with AR and learning in a context of the metaverse. Thank you.
Good question. I think for me, metaverse would be designing learning experience without thinking about which parts of that experience you want to be in the physical world, in the mental space of the person, or in a digital world. And then when you have that designed in mind, you can take an existing learning design, and then you can think, okay, that part of the experience is best done in the physical setting, in the classroom or in the workspace or in a conversation with another human being. And then the next part of the experience is best done also in the same setting, but it can be 99% implemented using an AI, and to make it more authentic and realistic, you can represent that AI in the form of a virtual human, and you can put a human hologram in front of the learner to converse with. Or you can, in the next learning activity, planning a visit to a museum, and then you would be able to easily choose if you want people to, or the students to actually go to the museum, or you want them instead to be in a virtual museum or in augmented reality museum. So when all these media are easily interchangeable, not requiring people to make a major effort in developing something new or planning something completely that nobody has done, then I think we would be able to say that we are learning now in the metaverse. And apart from that, I mean, before that happens, we can experiment with different setups and experiment with different sides of the metaverse. But I think this is how I would see learning in the metaverse.
Thank you for that, Miguel.
Thank you very much.
We're getting at near an hour here, and I promised an hour. I think we started a couple of minutes late, so we have time for maybe a question or two. And does someone want to jump in for the final two questions or comments?
I think were you
go ahead,
talking
Christian.
about, or Raj, you had a question in the discussion chat about like a, well, you can ask the question if you want, but it's about a manual.
Hey, Dr. Mikhail, can you hear me okay? Hello.
A little quiet, but yes.
Yeah, thank you so much for the wonderful demo. I really appreciate it. And I'm wondering if there is a way to learn how to program in this platform. I was searching and I couldn't find any manuals or any technical specifications on this. So I'm just wondering, do you have, you said it was an open source, so where can I just go and find more about this?
In general about virtual and augmented reality, or anything specific you're looking for?
This specific platform.
Okay, if you're interested in this specific platform, I think the easiest way is to get my contact and send me an email, and I will send you all information. We have our code repository, and we're running weekly developer meetings. And if you have, if you want to join then the developer community, then you can do that. If you want to see the program code, if you want to get the apps, there are different things of what you can do with it. So I think it's better if you ask me directly.
Thank you so much.
So what I guess
I'll do that.
Yeah, what Miguel said, anyone who's attending today, you've got his email. So, you know, and it's nighttime in Norway. He's going to be doing nothing else tonight. You know, he doesn't want to watch television. So send him an email tonight and he'll answer your questions. We do have a couple of experts here. You and Joanne, the department chair of North Texas, who's been studying gaming and gaming worlds for, in fact, we've done some things together. And Sean Ga, the former president of the ACT. Sean, or you and Joe, would you like to have a final comment here?
No, I'm just learning. I am actually just starting the research projects on VR and AR. So we've been looking for applications, and recently, I mean, I'm working on the project with VR, but we've been looking for applications. This is wonderful. That actually fills my needs. So if I'm actually looking forward to having some collaboration opportunities with you, if possible.
All right, that sounds interesting, of course, and we can discuss. I'm open for collaboration in general. If you're looking at my screen at the moment, I was trying to also give you a demo on HoloLens, but the demo shuts down because of the bandwidth. But yeah, I think you can get a feel of how the interface looks in HoloLens. In terms of collaboration, and if you are generally running educational projects where you're using AR and VR and you're interested in trying this platform, I can do hands-on demonstrations focusing more on your questions and your needs individually for you and for groups of your trainers or your projects. So it should be absolutely no problem.
Sure. Yeah. What impressed me is that you try to bring several instructional design models into your project, and I see 4CID model. So I think it's not just the application part, but then there's also a piece about instructional design, how to scaffold it. So, and then how that AR is integrated with the learning management system. So you have demonstrated really a great picture how AR can be integrated in actual instructional context. So that is really very commendable, your work. Yeah.
So she's from the University of Oklahoma, Sean is. And Sean brings up an important point that Mikhail's a crossover person. He's not just a computer science person. He's a computer science person who attends educational technology conferences to learn from us. And he's been able to use the knowledge that he's gained to contribute to our field in journals, but also to think about new applications from an educational point of view. So he's not just thinking about things from a computer science point of view. And that's critical. And you notice the instructional design models embedded in what he was discussing earlier. That's another reason why I invited him in here. Dan Hickey and Joshua Danish are in our learning science department or program, and they've experimented in this area as well. Did you want to have a final comment or a question or concern?
Actually, I've done nothing with VR in my work, so interesting though. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate it.
Thank you for your interest, of course. So what I tried to show you, and in parallel to answering your questions on this device, is that we're used to content being on the phone or on the screen. And with this device, the content is all around you. You can move it around, and there are menus and buttons and things to interact with, and you can sort of create your own workspace around you when you are creating instructions. And you know, the mapping is much more precise. So we are mostly looking at the model when the instructions are created on using this device by a trainer or a teacher, and then you can deliver that to students who are using their own smartphones. And thank you for inviting people, everyone, cross-disciplinary person and with background in both computer science and education science.
That it's very needed. It's, you know, I've over the decades I've been in the field, you can count people on my hands who are doing what you've done. And I appreciate Dan coming in here to continue to learn what's going on in the field, and Joshua and others and Xiaojing and so forth. Thanks for coming, guys. This has been a great session, and everyone's got your email. And so, you know, it's been delightful. You've gone from showing us what's possible, showing us a bit of your research. There's a lot more to your research. There's a lot more to the applications. I mean, if you go to his projects, you can learn a lot about VR in addition to AR by clicking on these pages. So you'll be amazed at what he's done in his 15 years in this field. He's like a giant, you know? So it's great to have you. Maybe you can get you back someday. And again, I want to give him a round of applause for coming in today. And, you know,
it was a pleasure, and I'll be happy to answer your questions or do something together if you want.
Thank you very much. I'm going to stop this recording at this point.